it's Dr. Johnson, and I'm going to walk you through an activity that's great to use with primary source photographs. It's called the 30-second look, and it's a great way to get your students looking at important details in primary source photographs, as well as starting to think like a historian, to ask questions like a historian would ask. Now, for this activity, you're going to need two things. You're going to need a paper and pencil. It does not matter what type of paper. It could be lined or blank. You're probably going to want 4 or 5 sheets of paper. Second thing you're going to need is a partner. Could be a child as long as they can write. It could be a significant other, or it could be a stranger off the street as long as you're social distancing. So what I want you to do is pause the video at this point, go gather these 2 items up, and when you're ready to continue, then restart the video. All right. For you and your partner, welcome to the 30-second look. This is an activity that actually has its foundation in art museums. Art museums found that the average person will stop and look at a painting for 30 seconds. And so art museums use this to their advantage. Their educational programs will help people, the average everyday person, learn how to look at a piece of art and get the important details looking at that piece of art in just 30 seconds. Now, if you want to find out more about the 30-second look activity, you can just Google 30-second look and you'll get references to the Getty Museum and lots of other art museums around the world who use this. And specifically, the activity that I'm going to walk you through is based off of a Library of Congress lesson about classrooms then and now. And the website, if you want to grab this lesson plan, is actually there on the screen and you can do it. But let's get on to the activity. We're going to have your first look at this photograph. So what I need you and your partner to do is both of you should have a paper and pencil in front of you. Make sure that you have your own paper and pencil and your partner has their own paper and pencil. I am going to show you the photograph for 30 seconds. I need you to remember as many things as you can about that photograph. The details. What do you see? What are the different parts of the photograph? Everything possible that you can remember about that photograph, and I'm only going to give you 30 seconds to look at it. The other important rule on this first look is you do not get to write anything down, so no taking notes. I want your paper and pencil in front of you, but you're not allowed to take notes at this moment in time. So for the next 30 seconds, and I'm going to run a timer for you, just look at the photograph and keep track of all the details in your brain. 30 seconds, I'll let you know when it's up. 30 seconds starts now. Look at all the details. Remember as many as possible. You have 15 seconds left. Last few seconds to remember anything important. All right, time is up. So you had 30 seconds to look at that photograph. Hopefully you have all those details in your mind. Now I want you to pick up your paper and pencil, and I want you to record all the things you remember. List everything that you can remember. Do not talk to your partner yet. You list separately everything you remember. Your partner lists what they remember. Go ahead and pause this video, and when you and your partner have independently written everything down that you can remember, then restart the video. All right, I'm going to give you a little chance to add some more things onto your list if you want. Here's some questions that you might not have thought of. What was the main subject you saw? Do you remember any people or animals in there? Do you remember what the mood was like? Was it chaotic? Was it peaceful? Was it tidy? What was the setting? Take just a few minutes more if you want and write down any more details that you might have remembered. Do not talk to your partner yet, though. Pause the video, and when you're ready to move on, go ahead and restart the video. All right, now you finally get to talk to your partner. With your partner, pull both your lists out. Have them right there in front of you, because I want you and your partner now to talk about what did you see. List everything you saw together. and specifically look at what are the things that you both saw. What are the things you have in common? What are the things that your partner saw but you didn't see, and vice versa? What are the things that you forgot about, or what are the things your partner forgot about? So take a few minutes right now to talk about your lists with your partner. Pause the video at this point, and after you feel like you've talked to your partner enough about this, then restart the video. All right. You and your partner have just talked about your list. What I need you to do now is get a brand new sheet of paper out. You and your partner, you just need one for the both of you at this point. With that brand new sheet of paper, both you and your partner, just one sheet of paper between you, I need you to divide this paper up into 3 columns like you see on the screen. In these 3 columns, we're just going to start with the left-hand column. So that left-hand column, you're going to label, what did we see? These are your observations. And I need you and your partner to talk and decide, agreed upon by both of you, what were the 10 most important things that you saw in the photograph. Once again, get a brand new sheet of paper, divide it into 3 columns. In the far left-hand column, write the 10 most important things that you remember in the photograph. And you have to agree upon those 10 items. Both you and your partner have to agree together. So pause the video at this point, and when you have your 10 items written down as a team, then restart the video. All right, now that you have your 10 items written down on your observations, let's take a look at this middle column. Middle column, you need to put at the title at the top, what do we think we know? Now we're going to start getting into being a historian. Based off of your 10 observations, based off of even all your observations, what are the 10 things you think you know? What are the 10 ideas you think you know about this photograph based off your observations? So you and your partner have to agree on 10 things you think you know together. Write them in the middle column. What I need you to do is pause the video at this point. When you get your 10 ideas, your 10 things you think you know about the photograph in that middle column, then restart the video. All right, you are being great historians. This is what historians do. They make observations, then they make some assumptions, some ideas based on their observations, and the last thing we're going to do is this third column. Great historians ask questions. So in the third column, put the title at the top, what do we wonder? And in this last column, I need you and your partner to list 5 questions that you still have about the photograph. What are 5 things you still want to know as a team? Now remember, you have to agree on these 5 questions as a team. So what I need you to do is pause the video. When you and your partner have written down the 5 questions you still have about the photograph, then restart the video. All right. Now at this point in the classroom, if we were doing this and we were face-to-face, I would talk about this as a whole group. We would bring the photo up and say, hey, what are the things you noticed? What are the things you didn't notice? Like, for instance, did anyone notice this little, looks like a doll in the back? That's an interesting thing. Or did anyone notice maybe how tall the doors are? That's a really tall door. Oh, whoops, we want to go back. Did anyone have a question about maybe this number at the bottom of the photograph on what that number means? And if we were in class, we would also talk about the questions that you have. We would spend maybe in the next 20-30 minutes talking about the questions you have and what research we want to do about this photograph even more. But we unfortunately are not face-to-face, so we can't do that. So I'm going to let you know that maybe you want to go to this lesson plan and look at how this lesson would develop. But you now have the foundation for the basics of a 30-second look lesson. You understand the process of that. So some things to think about as far as the 30-second look. What are the important things to remember about it? To remember the supplies that the students would need to do this. To remember the basic instructions you need to give students. Especially that first look is no writing down, that you're going to do this on your own. Think about what skills you used when you did this 30-second look activity. What are the skills that your students would have to be able to do this activity, and what are the skills they're going to learn, more importantly, by doing this 30-second look activity. Something interesting to think about. And then the last really good question to think about this 30-second activity is, how might you use this in a school? What are situations where this would be a really good activity to do with students? So hopefully you've had fun with the 30-second look activity, and you've been able to maybe add this to your toolkit of an activity you could do with students. And in the future, hopefully it will be useful in your teaching career. Thanks so much for joining me.